Folsom Lake. It is early March, and we are going on the hunt for big holdover rainbows and king salmon in our Hobie kayaks. I'm here with Wes Ward of the Fishing You For magazine. Okay, the fast stuff wasn't working for me, so a little change pace. On the lead core, running one color down, I got a set of traditional chrome and chrome tape flashers trailing a threaded gulp worm, and on the downrigger I have a 6-inch UV sling blade, chrome and green, trailing a fire tiger cripple lure. I am marking some fish here, so I'm going to troll it right around 1.8 to 2 miles an hour and see if we can get some interest in some slower presentations. Ooh, fish on! Fish on, daddy. All right. There we go, a nice little Folsom Lake king salmon. That didn't take long. As soon as I switched up, slowed down, and put on that gulp, wham, this guy came knocking. He's gonna be great for dinner tonight. Nice fresh king, my first king in the kayak. I'm pretty stoked. He's not huge, but that's a good start. Hey, Cal Kellogg here. I'm out for a hike this morning with Lucy, and 2 days ago I was out on Folsom Lake, and I thought I'd give you folks a report. As any of you that fish Folsom Lake know, it can be an extremely frustrating lake to fish, and it's been pretty slow much of the winter, but things are starting to break loose right now. Wes Ward and I took our kayaks out. We launched at Granite Bay. We headed up the lake towards Anderson Island. We didn't have any action for the first 90 minutes. When we got up one point below Anderson Island, I'd been trolling speedy shiners, trying my best to stay at like 3 miles an hour. Hadn't got a touch, so I decided to slow down. I broke out a set of flashers, silver willow leaf flashers with silver tape on them, and I ran a gulp worm behind that, and I was running that on one color of lead core line. On my other rig, on the downrigger, I put on a sling blade, a 6-inch model, UV green, and I put a fire tiger cripple lure behind that, and I kind of started grinding around that point. There were some pretty good marks up there, the first marks we'd seen that day, and within 5 minutes I hooked a king on the flashers on the gulp worm. I'd slathered the gulp worm with Anise Procure just for some extra scent. The water was stained, it was 48 degrees. The next hookup was a fish that Wes Ward hooked at 30 feet on a needlefish and Paulina Peak blade. I followed up with another hookup on the flashers, a lost that fish, and then I got the final fish of the day on a sling blade and a shad pattern XL spoon. So in all we had 5 hookups, we landed 3 fish. Our top fish was about 16 inches long, I would say, 2 rainbows, 1 king. It was pretty cool starting off my fishing season with a king salmon out of the kayak. It was my first king out of the kayak. Couple notable things. One, the water is stained, and there's a lot of current flowing through the lake. I can usually troll out of my kayak pedaling along at 3 miles an hour, and I was struggling going up to maintain like 2.4, and my first thought was, man, you haven't pedaled in a while, you're out of shape. But then Wes pointed out he thought it was current. So at one point, well, when I changed my lures, I was just sitting dead in the water, and I'd rigged up the flashers and they were hanging in the water, and it was dead calm, no wind. I looked down and all the blades on the flashers were spinning. I glanced down at my Lowrance unit and I saw that I was drifting down towards the dam at 1.2 miles an hour. So there is a good deal of current pushing through the lake right now. So in short, the conditions weren't optimum. I've been talking to a couple buddies that have been fishing out there. Jerry Lampkin of TNG Motorsports Guide Service. He's been going out there and he's been getting some limits of fish. When he's going slow, he's using Sepp side kicks and worms. When he's going fast, 3 miles an hour, he's using speedy shiners. He's got a few kings, mostly rainbows. He's getting limits, some days close to limits. A friend of one of his buddies was out there trolling, I believe, a chartreuse and silver speedy shiner, and that guy ended up getting a 6-pound king. So there are some very nice fish up for grabs. Mike Kelty and Rick Brown were out there, and they put together a nice 5-fish limit with a couple rainbows up around 18 inches, one a little bit smaller, and 2 planters. They got their best fish trolling between 22 and 40 feet deep. That's where the big ones came. They got some smaller planters up on the surface. They were also working in North Fork, as has been Jerry Lampkin. They were trolling Speedy Shiners, and Mike told me the hot color on the Speedy Shiner was the large, the 3-inch model in just straight chrome. So that's kind of the size of it at Folsom. Things seem to be perking up a little bit. If you go out there, I'd advise starting out with minnow plugs and hardware. Go fast, go north. If that doesn't pay off, slow down, break out those worms. Maybe some spoons. I put a pretty good bend in my sling blade when I was trolling down deep because I was trying to stay at about 1.5, 1.8, maybe up to 2 miles an hour. So I didn't try flies, didn't try anything else. I expected the gulp worm to produce, and it did. So anyway, that's about the size of it. I think Folsom's going to do nothing but get better from here on out. So get on out there, give it a try. It is it's close. The water's going to drop. It's probably going to mess the fishing up a little bit, but you know, Folsom is notoriously inconsistent, but we all keep going back because there are some very nice trout and king salmon out there. And of course the bass are a whole nother story. I saw a bunch of bass guys out there. They're working deep structure and they're catching plenty of fish. So anyway, once again, it's stained, it's 48 degrees, and it's going to get a whole lot better here in the coming weeks. Catch you next time. This is Kel Kellogg signing off. I got to get back to hiking.